Holy smokes, Mouz have benched Siuhy ahead of Katowice after their loss to Bet Boom at Blast Bounty, citing differing visions for the future of the team. Now that is especially an interesting statement to have about, Siuhy, as he is one of the up-and-coming IGLs, or one of the IGLs of the modern day to a degree. Still waiting for him to take that next big step, but he has been under, the Mouz brand since the NXT days. Him, Torzy, JDC, Exertion, they all came up together through the NXT project, and to see him leave because of differing creative visions, Cyclone practically raised these guys into Tier 1 CS. So seeing that not only does Siuhy have a differing vision from the rest of his teammates, but from his coach that he has spent so long with, is the most shocking part to me. Now, obviously things will come out with time and we will begin to understand what caused this. And behind the scenes, it had always seemed that Mouz was putting on this rather professional front, and they also just happened to be friends, and that was a plus along the way. But in a recent interview that Siuhy did in his native tongue, it was stated that, a lot of the guys just didn't answer their phones. This sort of friendship facade was present, and that it was actually more of an air of professionalism within the team above all else, similar to how, I guess, VP used to operate under James. Yakinder often said that when he came over to Liquid. But seeing Siuhy be on the market after spending most of his career playing with the same guys, other than his short tenure in Gamer Legion, where he would go on to go to a major final, it puts a lot of crazy stuff on the table, because Siuhy now is the prospect, in my opinion, to argue over. He could go to practically any team in the world and make it an upgrade in both either his firepower over their existing IGL or his tactical acumen. And it would be not unrealistic to say that, because he could go to Liquid and they could drop someone like JKS, shift the roles around, and have a disgusting rifle core while having a solid tactical IGL, and Twists can work with him to help with mid-rounding and stuff, and that would improve Liquid immensely, in my opinion, while also, giving them an extra gear of aggression. He could go to G2 and be an upgrade over Snax in every way, in my opinion. Snax is someone who I've never really had faith in as an IGL, and, it's starting to show a bit more of his lack of depth with recent roster changes and them still developing as a team. But, imagine a team of Monacy, Mouz, Heavy God, Siuhy, and Hunter playing fill roles and bringing that veteran presence. That would utterly be disgusting. He could be an upgrade for Apex within Vitality, but I doubt that Vitality wants to move on from Apex yet. And, he's very core to their identity, and he's very core to making ZywOo stay comfortable. Beyond that, a rather weird pull if he wanted to take a step down, he could go back to Gamer Legion. If he wanted to have a team of players and a coach he has history with that would absolutely not question him in the slightest and have full control over the team alongside a coach he agrees with, he could go to Gamer Legion, work under Ash again, who has managed to, build his modern legacy with that org, bringing consistent new talent to the major cycle. Go back, Siuhy. Go to another major final. Fuck it. Last time you did it, you found Ema, and now he's a major champion. Why not again? And that's a very similar approach, in my opinion, to, why Blade, I think, will never go back to coaching a full national team again, is because they have this sort of reputation now built up within the international Counterstrike scene in their role that demands respect. And if you work with guys who are either younger than you, less successful by some form of measurement, they are going to listen to you and have more respect for you than, say, the peers he has had within Mouz, who they have all known each other for years and years. I mean, he first stepped up into the main Mouz roster in mid-2023, but they had been on NXT for years before that. And so seeing Siuhy finally sort of leave the nest and spread his wings will be a very interesting chapter. Brollan is taking over the IGL duties for Mouz in the meantime, which I have absolutely no idea how to respond to that, because what? Huh? Siuhy for Brollan? Okay, whatever. But then also simultaneously, within 24 hours, they announced the signing of Spinx from Vitality. So now Mouz is, Exertion, Torzy, Brollan, Jimfat, and Spinx, which, okay. It'll be interesting to see, Exertion and Spinx play together, fellow countrymen, so they likely have some sort of pre-established chemistry, I would imagine. But it's rather staggering to see such a landslide move happen after Rostermania is practically over, and to think in the manner that they were originally coached and came up with this air of professionalism, to have something happen that they just couldn't gut it out and get through Katowice, something that drastic had to happen, is staggering. But moving forward, obviously, we have the second round of quarterfinals for the Blast Bounty tomorrow. Today, we had the games of G2 versus BetBoom, but that game was kind of a wash because Boomich and Zorte couldn't even play because they likely didn't even expect to beat Mouz and get to this LAN event, so they didn't have visas prepared and were unable to play. So Nafany and Chiron had to step in, which, okay, whatever. Chiron had a half-decent showing. I still think he is something to be polished, but the Heroic Spirit game was actually far more interesting because it was a 2-0 win for Spirit, but Anubis on T side, Pius, absolutely showed why he is one of the top 5 offers in the world, in my opinion. And I will always be biased against him or for him because of his time in ENCE, and I will always support him. And I think that he is on his way back up to the top, and that this Heroic roster, despite choking, has the potential and slight firepower to remain competitive at the top of Counterstrike. And we will see that evolve as Nilo hopefully returns to the roster sometime in the future. For now, they're in sort of a holding phase, which is kind of ironic considering that's exactly what they were last year, between having to deal with stand-ins for Dexter over the rest of the year, Nikodos returning to the roster for events such as IEM Dallas. But either way, it was a fairly standard day over at Blast Bounty. And beyond that, I also want to offer my condolences to the women over at Nouns Female because their vote did not pass for their funding for this season. And I was very privileged to have met some of them up at Laundersland, and they are some very kind people, and I hope that they are able to find new homes and new paths very soon, as they are worthy of that. Beyond that, I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Let's tune in for those matches tomorrow. Tomorrow we will be seeing... Tomorrow we have Na'Vi versus Pain, and we have Vitality versus Eternal Fire. This will be very interesting, as in my opinion, Pain are rather underrated at the moment because their recent pickup of CjDoesCs has shot their firepower through the roof, in my opinion. The losing of Lux, people were often, or I was at least concerned because it was a drop in firepower. We didn't know who they were getting yet, as people were hoping CjDoesCs would go to somewhere like maybe 9Z or something, but getting him in Pain under Big Uzera and having such a ridiculous amount of firepower under one roof with the recent signing of Kawez also, I think that there is a easy chance where Pain makes this a very competitive game through firepower alone. And Snow has also been fantastic, but beyond that, Vitality should smack Eternal Fire. They were on a bit of a downswing towards the end of last year, with them not making as much of a dent at the major as they would have wanted. I don't think they even made the major, right? Yeah, I don't think they made the major. But goodness gracious, what a chaotic 24 hours, 48 hours in Counter-Strike, but that's why we love it. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below on the events of the day. And beyond that, have a great day, everyone. I have been CJ.